Hey everybody, how's it going today? Me and Nathan just wanted to let you know that since it's Teacher Appreciation Week, we just wanted to share a couple of stories about how some teachers have impacted us. We have a plethora of communities, like school communities, in our church represented by teachers and by students. We got students that go to Monroe County, Mary Persons, Bank Stevens. We got students that go to Covenant Academy, and then we got students that are homeschooled by their parents. So we have a whole variety of students and teachers that are in our ministry that are affected by what we do. And we just wanted to say thank you for that. And so Nathan's going to tell us an awesome story about an interaction he had with a teacher one time. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thanks, James. Yeah, guys, we hear stories all the time from the students who are telling us the way you impact their lives, teachers. They tell us, teacher, and I won't share all the names because I'll miss somebody, but this teacher said this to me, this teacher helped me with this area, this teacher, and you guys make a huge impact on them. Growing up here in Monroe County, I went to Monroe County Schools, Hubbard, Monroe County Middle School, and then Mary Persons. And I remember specifically, there's lots of incidents and lots of teachers who really made an impact on my life, and I could share so many things, but probably one of the most important ones in my life I can remember back to is I was a freshman at Mary Persons, and I was a pretty good kid. I wasn't a bad kid, but teachers would probably tell you I talked too much. That was always on my report cards. But I was kind of deciding to slack off a little bit as a freshman. I was going to just kind of coast. I was having a good time at Mary Persons. And we had a test. I had this English teacher. Her name was Miss Bazemore. And I really enjoyed her class. I really enjoyed English. I'm good at it and did well at it in school. But instead of buckling down and focused, I thought, well, I'll figure a way to game the system, so to speak. And we had these belts that were long, leather braided belts that we would wear at the time. And we'd wear them so they'd hang down your leg, almost down to your knee. And I figured out a way that I could write all my vocabulary words on a piece of paper, put them on the back side of that belt and staple it to it. And nobody would ever know. So while I was in class, I could just kind of flip the belt over, write the answer down. Flip the belt over, write the answer down. After class, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I done aced this test. Whoop, whoop, Walking out the door, and Miss Bazemore says, Mr. Jackson, can I speak to you real quick? And I thought, that's odd. Sure. And I walk over to her desk, and she says, can you flip your belt over for me? And I was like, oh, just sunk. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, you think, she's fixing to take me to the office and report me. I'm going to get expelled. I'm going to get suspended. You're a freshman in high school. You're thinking everything, worst case scenarios. And I flip the belt over and she says, I knew you were cheating. I saw you multiple times from up here at the front of the room. And she said, I tell you what I'm going to do. You can go home and study, really study for this. I'm going to give you a new vocabulary test over the same information, but it'll have, because not all of our vocabulary words were on there. And tomorrow after school, as soon as last period ends, you come in here just like you would for detention. You come in my class, and you retake the test. And whatever grade point average you get, like if you get an A, I'm going to give you a B. If you get a B, I'm going to give you a C, and so forth and so on. So I was able to go back and retake that test. And I honestly, I can't tell you what grade I got. I don't remember that. But what I remember is she gave me an opportunity. She gave me a second chance. And I did better from that point forward in classes. I'm not going to say I was an All-American, All-A student. I wasn't. But that moment of this one teacher caring enough not to throw me in jail, so to speak, for one bad incident, but give me a second chance, a chance to correct, was important. And I know so many of our students have stories just like this. And teachers, I know it's hard. I know you get frustrated with the students sometimes, but as it's Teacher Appreciation Week, it ought to be Teacher Appreciation Year. We thank you guys, and thank you for caring about the students, for going that extra step sometimes when you're frustrated and you've lost your patience and you really just want to expel them, but you take the opportunity to give them a second chance. So thank you.
Yeah, and Nathan was talking about the report card notes. We actually used to get physical report cards, and mine was almost like a copy and paste, especially in elementary. He knows all this stuff, or he's very smart or whatever, but he will not be quiet. He talks too much. He's very talkative. It said that, I think every one of my report cards had that written on there. And so as most of y'all know, I do like talking. But just to kind of give you a story, in high school, I ended up in electronics class halfway through the ninth grade year, and it wasn't by choice, but I ended up in there. And so, but I grew to love electronics. I grew to like them. And so I took electronics all through high school. Even my last year, I took 2 advanced electronics class and another technology class. So half the classes I was taking every day had something to do with electronics. So my teacher was ex-military, so he had structure. He had, probably he did his own. I'm not gonna say he did his own discipline, but he kind of did. I mean, and so then when I left there, I was like, well, I'm going further that. I'm going to get a degree in electronics. So I did. Well, just so happened my teachers that I had there were military too. They're ex-military. And they all tried to get me to go into the military, which I love people who serve, but that just, for where I was at in life, that just wasn't for me. But the awesome thing is the structure that they gave me, and man, they would teach you to dig deeper, especially my high school teacher. He kind of prepared me for college, because he'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to show you. And he would show us something, a circuit that seemed simple or in theory seemed like it would work a certain way. And then you would try and build it or test it. And man, it would go crazy. And he's like, yeah, you didn't think you knew it. And so then he would say, this causes this. And he would dig deeper into the theory and practical uses of it. And so what he always encouraged us is, he said, if you think you know enough, dig a little deeper.
That's good.
And so I would always, I still apply that today. Like when I'm teaching Sunday school, or when I'm at school now, in seminary, when I'm trying to figure something out and I think I know it, I'll dig a little deeper and I'll figure something else new out. And so I'm always learning. And I don't want to say I didn't like learning back then, but when you're forced to do something,
That's right.
you sometimes don't enjoy it as much as when you have the option to do it. But now sometimes I can't absorb enough information, and I just love doing it. Give you a crazy thing is I just started trying to learn how to play the ukulele while we're on quarantine. But to get back to those teachers, I had 3 of them. They were all electronics teachers. They were all ex-military. They wouldn't accept subpar stuff. I remember one time in college, I hadn't really studied for a test, and we had to build a circuit and we had to do something. Well, I knew what the circuit was supposed to do, so I made something that I can't remember if it worked or not. But then we had to write down practical, test points and stuff like that, and I just wrote down what the answer should have been out of theory. And well, in theory and practical, there's a lot of different things. And so he called me back in there. He said, "Hey, how did you get in?" So I told him. He said, "I need you to rebuild that circuit for me, and let's go back, recheck it." What I was doing was taking a quick route because I knew what it should be. So I just built it and said, "Yeah, you see it." He's like, "Yeah," and I just had done it. But what I really didn't do was go through and do all the tests and checks that I should have done, and because the answers wouldn't have been exactly the same. And so he made me go back the next day and redo it, and I learned a couple of different, I don't really know what you say on theories, or they're not theories, but like stuff that happens that when you actually use electronics that doesn't happen when you just have theory on paper. And so I actually learned a lot by going back and redoing it the right way. But he was like, "Yeah, I knew you couldn't have completed that quick, and that you did that." So he did a great job of explaining to me, hey, go deeper. Hey, if you think you know this, dig deeper. Hey, get a different resource. Because he'd give us this book, and he's like, "Look in this book." Okay, what did that book say? Okay, go get a different resource. Man, how many times do we now, when we're studying the Bible, we get different teachers, different commentaries, different inputs, so we can get the whole scheme of things. And so I just want to tell the teachers that are in the ministries that we affect, thank you. Our students love y'all. We love y'all for what y'all do. And I know I've had many teachers impact my life. That was just a kind of a short story for what happened to me.
Yeah, we thank you, teachers. I'm texting Ashley, which is James's wife now, to let her know. James knows his stuff, but he talks too much.
Yeah, she knows that. All right. We enjoyed it. You got anything else?
No, just
All right.
thank you, teachers. We really do appreciate y'all, and keep pouring into students.
Bye.